I want to share with you what was to me the funniest part of the Trump on Joe Rogan. So they talked about many things. So Joe Rogan even asked him some legitimate questions like, "How do you know that you won the election?" Then we didn't get an answer that actually made any sense. But okay, let's now focus on the funny stuff and on the weird stuff because the entirety of YouTube is full of people reacting to Trump's economic plans and his foreign policy and stuff like that. So I decided to focus on the part that is not often discussed. And okay, now I don't want to spoil the topic, so let's just jump in and then I will react.
But Lincoln had the yips about, in a way, as the golfers would say. He had a phobia about Robert E. Lee. He said, I can't beat Robert because Robert E. Lee won many battles in a row. He was just beating the hell out of him. You know, they tried to get Robert E. Lee to be on the North, but he said, no, I have to be with my state. You know, the state was his whole thing, and he went to the South. And he was, I've had generals tell me, we have some great generals, the real generals, not the ones you see on television, the ones that beat ISIS with me. We defeated ISIS in record time. It was supposed to take years, and we did it in a matter of weeks. These are great generals. These are tough guys. These are not woke guys. But their favorite general in terms of genius was Robert E. Lee.
In terms of strategy, you mean?
Strategically. He took a war that should have been over in a few days, and it was, years of hell, of vicious war. And so here I am standing there.
Now Trump starts to ramble a bit, but what was so hilarious to me, at least about this clip, so in this era of, let's call it racial sensitivity, Trump decides to talk about how much he likes Robert E. Lee. And then he also says, well, Lee, yeah, he really liked Virginia. He was all about state rights, and that's what I respect. I'm also all about state rights. But okay, so what's funny about it is that among all these other relevant topics, Trump decided to talk about Robert E. Lee and the Civil War. Okay, which is fine. That was the point of the interview, not to be too serious, which is, by the way, my main critique of Joe Rogan in this interview. You have to pressure politicians more. But okay, the another level of irony and what makes this funny is that Trump is actually right. Let me explain what I mean by that. So he could be, on the one hand, he could be just dog whistling to some racist people by telling them that he likes Robert E. Lee. And Robert E. Lee did, in the end, in fact, became a symbol of racism. And what's funny about it is that Robert E. Lee, he truly wasn't actually, by the metrics of the time, a racist. Or at least that's what I learned in college. For example, General Grant, or to be more precise, his wife, had more slaves than General Lee. So Lee truly did just believe in state rights, and he was a Virginian patriot. If Virginia, for example, decided to be in favor of the Union, then Lee would just fight for the Union. That, or at least that's what I learned in college. Now we can have a debate about this in the comment section. But with time, Lee became a symbol of racism because all those southern states that evicted, that created statues of Robert E. Lee, did it kind of as a middle finger to black people asking for their rights. And what's funny about it is that Lee himself said, after he lost the war, that he doesn't want to have statues because he wants to preserve the Union. He is against division. He doesn't want to see bloody wars in which American people will kill each other. And he said that he doesn't want people to glorify him because that could lead to separatism. But yeah, so okay, the point of this entire monologue was that in a vacuum, Trump is actually right. Lee wasn't racist, and I don't think that actually there is any problem in just talking about like about how much you like Lee. But then again, yeah, looking at it through the prism of the American election, he might be actually dog whistling. But okay, and in the end, I just want to like share with you my reasons why I still strongly dislike Trump, while I still at the same time find it hilarious that in this era of wokeness and racial sensitivity, he decided to actually quite objectively talk about Lee and about how much like even Lincoln respected him, and about how he was objectively a great general actually. Well, my main reason to strongly dislike Trump is the fact that he tried to stop the peaceful transfer of power. And I strongly believe that even General Lee would be against Trump for trying to stop the peaceful transfer of power, for to use a terminology from the Roman times, for crossing the American Rubicon. So Sulla was the first one that did it, the first one that figured out that in fact Roman generals actually can just occupy the Senate with their military. The only thing preventing it was a taboo, and Trump destroyed this very important political taboo and still remained a relevant political figure. That's what's so scary actually about Trump. And okay, honestly, I do get why Trump is so appealing. Like in this era of wokeness, he will say funny stuff that's provocative and sometimes true, but ask yourself, is that worth destroying democracy in your country? And I think that the answer is definitely no. And yeah, I mean, Lee believed that the Constitution gave states the right to secede, and there is still debate among scholars, does Constitution actually give that right or not? And there is much stronger case to be made that actually states do have a right to secede than to justify what Trump did, and that is essentially he tried to stay in power after losing the election. There is just no way, no reading of the Constitution can justify that. You have to accept a peaceful transfer of power. But yeah, Trump didn't. Okay, if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe.